Hey guys, it's Ken Scott, Senior U.S. Immigration Law Intelligence Analyst for US Entry Waivers Services.com. Remember, we're going to get you guys cleared to enter the USA. Today is March 1st, 2024. And I know I always want to say I do a quick video, although I'm a bit long-winded, but I'll get right to the point here. The point of this video is this new government waiver application fee, which is 1,100 USD. Guys, we've said this before, but the application fee for a US waiver, for the I-192 waiver, for that one, is going up from 585 US, and that's 585, not $5, to 1,100 US dollars. So 1100 USD. Now, guys, that's an 88% jump, effective 1 April 2024. Now, the main point for this video is you guys need to be aware of what you're doing. The way this economy is now, I don't think that many of you guys can afford to toss 1,500 Canadian, which is the equivalent, in the bin. That's just for government fee. So when you guys do these waivers, you really better make sure, I know what I want to say, but I have to be YouTube friendly, that you know what the F you are doing. Because the fact that this is not a promo for us to get business. One of the problems is we actually have too much business. So we're trying to find ways, we found ways to like slow it down. But the point is, you guys really, really need to be aware that $1,500 government fee plus all the expenses on top of it, you likely don't have it tossed in the bin. And what I mean is by using these dollar store discount waiver companies who don't know what they're doing, who bring you guys into low fees, you guys get ripped off, then you guys got to do this all over again. It's another 1,500. So I'm not going to have any mercy on you guys either if you cheap out. Because the thing is, this work is really tedious. It's really specialized. Me being a former federal officer that was stationed in Washington State and a former law enforcement officer who was also there and a former trainer, law enforcement LE trainer, we used to work for the American government. So we know how this stuff has to be. And I don't mean the guy that needs a waiver for like car theft. I mean, that's not what I mean. I mean like the heavy drug trafficking, the child molestation, the sex crime, sex assault, sexual assault of a minor, kidnapping, armed robbery, conspiracy, mayhem, attempted beheading, literally attempted beheading. I mean the serious stuff is what I'm talking about. I don't mean the guy that had caught with a joint back in the day, smoking all that reefer going, I don't mean that. I mean the serious stuff. You guys really need to hire someone who knows what the F they are doing. We do. The more I think about it, the more I've had to put this video out because if you guys get sucked in by the cheap promises from these discount waiver companies in Ontario, you guys fall prey. We're not having any mercy on you. When you say, oh, I just paid Batman's pardons and waivers. We're not having any mercy of you because we put this video out. We're trying to warn you guys ahead of time. Stop going to these discount waiver companies because the prices are cheap. It's cheap for a reason. You go to the Chinese night market, it's cheap for a reason. Or some of the stuff from the dollar store made in China. I got nothing against China personally, but it's cheap for a reason. The quality is crap. If you own a Lamborghini, or you take your Lamborghini to a certified Lamborghini technician, or you're taking it to Midas Mufflers. No offense to Midas Mufflers. But come on now, guys, use some common sense here. So we're already seeing people now having heart failure at the new government fee. But we do what we can to help you guys. Now, as of January 2024, we've raised our fees. This is even before this stuff has happened. So I thought about this long and hard, but I'm going to tell you guys our fee structure. We charge on severity. And we also charge based upon the U.S. government regulations, which we still have access to. And I'll just say U.S. government material, regs and other things. I'll just leave it at that. So the way it works is we start at 2,800, stuff like car theft, possession of a joint, a B&E when you're 20 and now you're, I don't know, 35, something like that. Like, less complex stuff. and guys that used to have the trafficking who used to move the pounds, so or the pies, so to speak, across the across the line. Hmm. That can range anything from 35, 38, 4K, 5 to up to maybe 6,500. It just really it's all case by case, right? One guy may have been caught trying to move a load down as a mule. That'll be somewhat less work, whereas the guy who's a Scarface was a mastermind, that's going to be up there, higher. So it's all case by case. And stuff like child sex crimes, like forcible child rape, child molestation, um, running a child prostitution ring, something like that, then you're looking at easily 10 to 20K because obviously it's common sense. And then also guys who used to be cartel or who used to be part of the syndicate who have now left that industry and now they want to move on with their life, whatever. That's easily 30K right there. Just nature of the crime. So kind of give you guys an idea of like the fee structure that we use. So if someone has a 5-year ban for false statements, which that's a big thing, that's right around the 3,500 4K mark. And guys, when I quote these prices, these are all in Canadian dollars, number one. Number two, they do not include the US government fee. Let me say it again. They do not include the US government fee. That's because of the fact that the dollar is fluctuating so much. It's really hard to combine it together. Now, for the fee that you pay us, we do everything. We document the rehab. We pull out the government regs when needed. We do all the letters of reference. We do your letter of explanation. That's a key. We do the same CBP assessment that they are going to use on your file to see if you're worthy of being approved. Because we've got the formula that they use. We've got all that stuff. And whenever things change like that, we can get you. We can get. I'll say we can get access to the changes. I won't say how, we get access to the changes. But I've said before, when you have friends who used to work for the American government or who still do, friends know friends and look out for friends. That's all I will say. So that part I'll keep it there. But just had to make this video so you guys can understand the fees we charge. This is the fees that we charge. You're getting what you pay for, in other words. So you go to Batman's Pardons and Waivers, he charges 750. What do you think you're going to get for 750? And again, I don't mean the guy with the one joint conviction or one B&E. I mean the serious stuff. The serious stuff or the complex stuff has to be done a certain kind of way or you will get denied. So that money you paid, the 750 plus the 1,500, that goes right. You know where it goes? I'll show you where it goes. That money you just paid, you know what? I'll make this even more dramatic. The money you just paid, all that money, that's what you just did with it. That's what you just did with it. You just tossed the money into the bin. Now, if you guys have got money tossed into the bin, that's great. But try to exercise some common sense here and use some logic. You got to hire a senior U.S. immigration law intelligence analyst who, again, has previously worked for the American government and as well as his associates. And we worked in law enforcement. So we understand this stuff better than the guys at the border do now, as we're starting to find out, because we have the critical thinking skills. We're from a different, say, different era. We have the critical thinking skills, so we didn't grow up with all this electronic stuff. We can think clearly. So you need someone who can do the same thing for your case. So again, guys, do what you want. It's your call. But if you got this right here to toss into the bin, then show me what bin you're tossing it in. So this is the only way to make it clear to you guys to, I guess, in a sense, to wake up, because we're getting so many people having heart failure over the government fee. So logic dictates, to quote my associate, Mr. Spark, logic dictates that if you know the government fee is higher, you want to do your best to prevent your money from being tossed into the bin. Common sense. Batman's pardons and waivers, they're not going to know how to do the complex stuff and they don't have access to the regs, the material, and other things I won't mention. And that's why we have a 99 to 100% success rate. So we kind of fluctuate between 99 and 100. So again, Ken Scott, Senior U.S. Immigration Law Intelligence Analyst with US Entry Waiver Services.com. And it's 888-908-3841 or 604-562-8140. And the last thing I'm going to say is, I'm going to say it again at the risk of sounding like a parrot. Stop using these. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube, but stop using these GD discount waiver companies and getting screwed, because we're getting tired of you guys getting screwed and coming to us and you cry because you got ripped off. We had 5 people this week that said that. And I had to tell them the same thing. I said, well, why did you use them? You chose to use them. And they didn't want to admit why, but you guys wanted to save a buck. But you don't seem to get that buck you're saving. You're actually going to spend more in the long run, especially when you get a denial. So, all right, guys, I'll leave it on a positive note. And I want to say, in the words of my Vulcan colleague, live long and prosper.